Hello everyone and welcome back to DBW. I am Jin, joined by L and Pip. And today we are back on Twitter to discuss what we saw on SmackDown in regards to the abrupt end of Julia's United States Championship reign. Now, I want to be honest, I think she only defended the title like 3 or 4 times at all. So, like, it wasn't like it was a very good reign. But the way it ended, I believe that there was no room to salvage. I believe it's going to go the way of the men's United States Championship if we don't figure something out with it. Now, of course, we are often here to give different perspective and to say what we believe had transpired and how we would move forward from it, so on and so forth, right? But I want to hear from you guys in this case because we got a tweet here from Kenshin Rel. And of course, if you disagree with him or agree with him, please do not antagonize him in the slightest. This is not what this is about. We just want to read his tweet and see what his point is. He says, this is what Bryan Danielson made. He said WWE is a parody of professional wrestling, which I think is really rich coming from him. Julia, one of the best Joshi women's wrestlers on the planet, losing in less than 2 minutes to a fruit roll-up foot rope pin. Get her out of that company. Then someone responds, I feel you, but at the same time, just don't watch. Which, I mean, don't like it, don't watch it. That is a standard issue, things that we hear a lot. And sometimes I have a problem with it, sometimes I don't. It's really hard to say. It's really case by case. And he responds again, that's exactly what Triple H wants you to say. I mean, he already said it. If you're not a real fan, F off. People defending this man is what's wrong with professional wrestling, and y'all should demand better. Not this crap. El, take it away from what do you think about that?
Well, it's hard to disagree with some of the sentiment because, like, yes, I believe that Julia's reign was pretty bad, to say the least.
Yeah.
I do think that Triple H probably wanted to capitalize on her buzz because when she first got to the main roster, a lot of people were hyped about what she could possibly be. But I do think that he should have pumped the brakes a little. I think he should have waited a little bit. I don't think that Julia quite has the appeal of a Stephanie Valcour. I mean, for obvious reasons, Stephanie has a more, I would say, exciting move set that gives the crowd involved. I'm not saying that Julia cannot wrestle, but I just believe that Stephanie's style is more so. It suits the typical standard fan more.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had a better transition so far. And I think that people on Raw are just better. Like, they've been booking Raw a lot better than SmackDown. Like, the women's mid-card scene on SmackDown is pretty god-awful, to say the least.
Man.
And Stephanie actually has competition that she can face that's solid. And Julia hasn't had that on SmackDown, which is sad. And then the Kiana J thing, I thought
Kiana James.
that maybe... Oh, yeah, James, my bad.
Yeah.
Kiana James, I thought that Kiana James could have worked in a vacuum, but then I realized that she isn't even on. So, like, how are we supposed to care about Julia when we don't even care about her manager when she's her mouthpiece?
Pip.
It's just very hard to do so.
Pip, what's some of your takes on the Kiana James manager situation that Julia had? They worked together for, I think, about at least a couple months at this point then. She lost the title. So tell me where your head's at on that.
Headspace is that, well, if Julia's going to be a new face, and I definitely understand wanting to have her, be easy to digest for, the wrestling fans of SmackDown, but I honestly, I don't think, like, Kiana James didn't really add anything or show off, like, why she's so important. If anything, it hindered her a lot more than, her performing by herself would have done, because she didn't really add anything. Like, there's not really any. Name me a factor that changed about Julia when she had a manager, in quotations.
Okay, so you're asking me. I'm gonna say that I think Julia was worse off with Kiana James, and it's not that. It's to take back to what L said. He said, if we don't even care about your manager, how can we care about you? Your manager meant to make you look strong. Your manager meant to make you look like a force of nature. Kiana James was not that. She was like a businesswoman, and Julia doesn't really fit the role or model of business persona, you know. So like, it's not Julia doesn't sound like she's trying to be someone that can sell you something, you know. She doesn't even speak the language that Kiana speaks. So at that point, it's already a disconnect between the manager, the talent, and the audience. So,
not even that. It's like if the main goal is to show how great Julia is, why are you wrestling, right? Because you know Kiana had a couple matches, and I'm thinking that was completely non-needed. Like you didn't need to do any of that.
ew.
Get what I'm saying?
I think it goes right back to booking. Whoever's been booking SmackDown over the past like 5 to 6 months, especially on the women's side, has been doing an awful job.
Mhm.
I think that whoever is booking has no clue what they're doing with the women's division, even now, because I don't really see what they're doing still. I'm not gonna bring up the women's tag team division. It's still a mess. I feel like that tag team division is still gonna be like a mess regardless of who's in charge. I don't know. They can't get it right.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
First of all, you gotta get the right people in position, and then it's gonna take a while to fix that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like it's just filler. The women's mid card is just filler. And then don't even get me started on the women's world title scene. Well, no, not the world title, WWE championship scene.
The world
That's
titles are
terrible.
just fine, yeah, but
Yeah, the
it's
world title is actually good because it's on Raw.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny
And
because
Raw is a,
it's funny because the top of the year we had the opposite problem where Raw was horrible to watch and SmackDown was way better.
you can't get both shows being good at the same time. So it's not.
I've
It's just
noticed
not
that.
meant to be.
I've noticed that we can't have both shows be consistently good at the same time. And it's really weird because SmackDown is always the brand that has to go above and beyond to prove that it's better than the flagship show. But now it just seems like, I heard that Road Dogg's the head leader, or the head writer back there, and they fired a bunch of writing staff and replaced them with other people. And then, it definitely got better overall, but there's still problems that permeate and persist. And I think one of the main ones that we're seeing was how they handled this Julia situation. Now, the Julia title reign wasn't working. They got off her. Fine. Chelsea's a better champion. Her and Ethan are going to be great together. I understand it completely. But Julia as a wrestler, it's just this wasn't a good fit for her. The women's mid-card, like Elle said, is a joke. It's filler. There is no one there who's on the caliber of a Julia, you know? And while that title would be great for Chelsea, that she can flaunt around NXT, AAA, SmackDown, whatever, and do what she does, that'll make it better than trying to give a pure wrestling person like Julia a title like this, where she has no one to wrestle for. It was her, Michin, and BFAB, and that was it. That was all the competition.
It also doesn't help like Julia's case. Because a lot of people probably are going to be looking at her kind of funny going forward because of just how she lost the title, in my opinion. Losing to Chelsea, fine, but like 2-minute match, like not only do you make like her reign filler, you make her seem like a filler star as well. I don't know how she'll try to like bounce back from that. But
Well, look, I'll put it like this.
I wouldn't have had her lost like that. That's all I'm saying.
I'll put it like this. It was sloppy. I get the idea why they tried to just pump the brakes on it and do something else. Totally get it, but it was sloppy. It was a sloppy way to do it. It was a sloppy performance that you just seemed like if you went to the restroom, you'd have missed the entire match, And that's not something Julia deserves, in my opinion. Julia deserves to be treated with the most respect because she is one of the pillars that can carry this women's division into something much better. And obviously, I've been watching NXT. I've been keeping up with Evolve, and the people on the roster that are coming in are going to be fantastic if handled correctly. Julia and Stephanie were two people that were running NXT as women's NXT Women's Champion and also the women's North American Champion at the same time. So like we both know that both these women can give great performances, but WWE's landscape is so different on the main roster that it's hard to do that because you see so many people come and go and so many crowds If the crowd isn't going to give you a response, it's going to be hard. It's hard to get people out there because look, we can say all we want online like we're doing right now, but when you get out to that ring and when that music hits and you don't get a response, that's what WWE sees. They don't see what we say. They don't see the reaction on Twitter. They don't see the people complaining online. At least not always. They see the people's response out in the ring, and when Julia's response with Kiana was nothing, it was poor. They had to put the brakes on it because no one cared. We can get on here now and say how bad it was to handle and how bad it was and all that so forth, but we didn't make it any better by not giving her any response. L.
I would agree. We didn't give Julia / Kiana James a response, but to counter that argument, they didn't really deserve one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, Julia is a great wrestler, but she's not that interesting as a character.
So
she doesn't have much going on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
they didn't really do enough to really show the crowd like, hey, why? Right?
Hear me out. What? I know we don't normally do this, but Pip, I'll ask you: what could they have done to make you care or give Julia a response? Because I'm gonna remind you, Julia can't speak English well, and you have a manager with her. What would you have done, or to get the audience some sort of reaction with the limited roster you have to contend with this title?
Honestly, I think the biggest issue, especially for like the women's mid card, is just like no one's like going to it at all. Like again, like we named like the same 3 people. Again, they're all always in rotation about who's gonna get the belt, win it there and win. And I don't know. I don't think you can really do a storyline or like make a belt look pristine with just 3 people, especially if these are people that we're always seeing and always see fight for the same title all the time. I think maybe like have someone like Nia Jax fight her, like send some of the other people to challenge for the belt, and maybe give her some more promo packages like they've been doing recently with like Shinsuke and Io and the Kabuki Warriors.
Now we're getting into a different problem. Because now we're talking about contendership. And yeah, I handed you that ball and you ran with it and you did a great job answering that actually. But now we're getting to a different ball field where the contendership on SmackDown is laughably poor. Laughably poor. The addition of Lash Legend is a much needed shakeup, but it has to be more women on SmackDown. There are not enough, and a lot of them are not legitimate enough. Between like the 2 biggest stars on SmackDown were Jade and Tiffany, and they were competing for the title for like 6 months, maybe longer if I'm mistaken.
I'd say just about that much.
No, I think it could have actually been longer because she lost the title in Saturday Night Main Event. That was top of November, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they also feuded back. They also had a match back at WrestleMania, didn't they?
Fact check that.
No, that was Charlotte. That was Charlotte. She lost against. She beat Charlotte.
Yeah.
She beat Charlotte.
Yeah, I think Jay was in triple threat match with Naomi and Bianca, right? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. I thought Jay did something else.
No. It was Bianca, Io, and Rhea at WrestleMania. And it was Jay versus Naomi. Jay versus Naomi. Yeah. Jay versus Naomi.
Yeah, that wasn't a title match.
No, it was not. It was not. So they've been competing for it at least since SummerSlam. At least.
So we're looking at 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months, 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months. These just been these 2 having the same feud. These 2.
Yep.
And now that Jade actually has beaten Tiffany, thank God, she has the title, and now we can do something else. But we have to start maneuvering people now, and that's where the conversation of a much needed draft begins to come in because it needs one badly, very, very badly. And if not a draft, a superstar shakeup of some kind. And that always happens around the time where you hear the conversation pertaining to Survivor Series. And they're like, all right, we got all these brands. We got enough people. Let's try to get some of these things because SmackDown's looking weaker. Like, if it's the one thing WWE always recognize, it's ratings. And the ratings are going to drop, then it's not going to be looking good for them.
But then you find yourself in a position where you're reactionary instead of proactive.
Yeah, you're reacting to a bad week of ratings, and now you change everything based on that. But the people who leave are the people who probably won't stick around much longer anyway. So it's really hard to say.
Fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I can start giving you things that you want, but will it actually benefit me as the creator or the company as a whole? And I think more ratings will be good. I can't lie. You need more ratings. You need ratings on TV. You need them. You need them. So
I think the moral of this story overall is just that you shouldn't have put yourself in a position to get to this point in the first place.
mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like people have been pointing out these things for a while, rather they're over the top or not. That's not important. If your ratings have been going down to a point where there are points of concern, then I mean, you only really have yourself to blame because people have been saying things.
They have.
There have been reactions.
They have.
So at that point, it's like,
did they just choose to ignore them?
um, it's really hard to say. There's always a lot of conversations and buzzes going around. I'm not in that. I'm not back. I'm not in that backstage area. I don't know what they're talking about, but you know, I would definitely say that it would be better off to like try than to just let things continue to you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's see. I need to see if I can get an update on the ratings for SmackDown. There has yet to be one. We know the ratings were low for Halloween, but there's yet to be one. And people are demanding the provision where we have now. People are demanding that they get Randy Orton. They're demanding we get Carmelo Hayes, so on and so forth. So many people that they want. It's hard to feed everyone. I understand that. And in Julia's case, I think she's lost in the position where SmackDown is just a dead end for her. Would you think going to Raw would be more beneficial to her?
I don't really know. I think that maybe she needed more time in NXT. Maybe their eyes got too big for their stomachs, and they thought that they could bring both Stephanie and Julia up quickly. But I always thought that Julia needed more because she is the least charismatic of the two. So I thought that she needed more time to develop.
When you put it like that, yeah, it doesn't really sound like her going over to Raw would do anything different for her. But then again, there are.
I mean, maybe if she links with the Kabuki Warriors and I guess maybe that lifeline could help. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I do agree. So I think we're gonna wrap this conversation up on Julia. The only thing I've noticed about it is that it was time to pull the plug on it, but it was done really sloppily. I hope she can recover from this really smoothly, or get drafted over to another brand like LA Knight. He had complete resurgence since moving to Raw, where he's now in the conversation for to be world champion. So sometimes change scenery is good. I can admit that. Sometimes good change scenery is sometimes all you need. But guys, yeah, thanks for checking out. I am Jen. That is L. That is Pitt. We are DB Dub. Woo!
Woo!
And we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Later.